surprise, it's Kaz. I'm here. I'm here to do a sound check. I'm here a few minutes early because I do not want to waste the time, which I know is so valuable to so many. We've been having a lot of technical issues, and that's not just what she said. It's Kaz here from In the Trenches with Kaz. We're here to talk about a specific thing today, a word that seems to be dirty in today's society, and that word is failure. Is failing not, if not, the essence of learning? We're going to be talking about that tonight. Stay with me. Enjoy as I say, bam, to the clock of destiny, which means this should go just under an hour. Okay. Hey, team. Hey, Kaz. G'day, Kaz. Biaki. There you go. Hello, team. How are we all? Foxy Fox. Sound is good today, Kaz. Very good to hear. Thank you very much, team. And it's great to be here. Jack Cartridge 303 is Bick. Lauren. G'day, everyone. With the one hand that should be inside Napoleon's coat. It's good to have you here. We've got a whole bunch of questions to throw at you today. I'd love it if you went back and hi from Coffs. Coffs Harbour is one of my favourite places in the world. I'd love to fall off that jetty. Always fish about. There you go. That haircut is 100%. Thank you. Sinaj. He's got the hair. Nice mohawk. It's very me, myself, and Irene orientated, if you know what I'm talking about there, and it's sponsored by the Green Eye of Gypsy Logic. Luke, g'day, mate. Great talk today, Lauren, and leading just up to this. Boys and gals, despite the fact that I have almost continually got a taint of brown in the jocks that I wear, I've got to look at failure as one of those things that has saved me on so many occasions from digging myself deeper into what could be considered professional folly. Now, tonight we're talking mostly about the military, and we're talking about the differences between RMC and the enlisted soldier. What quantifies failure, and what's the difference between failing and quitting? Because there's a massive difference. You can fail and give your 100% effort and then be picked up, retaught, smacked on the ass, and told, this is how you do it, son. This is how you do it, love. Okay, reteach them, and then what that creates is an exposure to the trauma of understanding that you weren't ready, and now you're ready to learn. An excellent example of that is fitness. Another excellent example is shooting. I won't tell you how to run. I won't tell you how to do push-ups. I won't tell you how to shoot till I see you fail, and then you will listen to me as I make you the better version of you. And that's what it's all about. Let someone fall before you teach them to run. So I've got a series of questions here. And before I do that, we need to understand that there is a massive difference for those that are going into the military between the overarching requirement of expectations versus results, that you go and you understand that you are joining the military, despite the fact you're a volunteer. It is a dictatorship with commissioned officers and non-commissioned officers, and those of the lowest ranks that take on the minions' work as well as the minions' danger. So be aware of that. But when you go to RMC, for example, you need to understand there is 3 classes that are all critically different to each other, with the first making up your NCO role themed activities, responsibilities, to see what your default settings are. And there's things they're doing critically wrong there that they could change, should change, to make sure that they are not the fish we reject before the taxpayer spends money on these individuals, understanding that one of the maximum tenets of leadership is physical prowess, posture, confidence, physical belief from those below that you can get them back from hell. Follow me. How can I follow you when you're behind me, knackered, vomiting, mum and dad spaghetti on your shirt already? You need to be up the front in everything, in physicality and the wooing of women, whatever it may be. So, RMC, when you go there, you can be in 3rd class and you go through your evolutions through the ranks, learning very, very basically to be 2 ICs, very, very basically to be section commander. maybe they're talking a little bit out of shop, thinking that they're achieving the results that they probably are far below what they'd expect, and that's fine. Okay, but they're being seen for their raw ability to instruct others, as well as having decisive capability within those roles and understanding what they're asking their sub commanders to do. Now, and then you go into the tactics side of things and conventional warfare in second class, followed by, sorry, and then followed third class is your individual skills leading up through section command, 2IC roles, etc. Second class is your tactics, learning about conventional warfare, and then going into first class, which is more your stability operations, complex asymmetric warfare, and all that sort of shit with the march out. But over all of that, over all phases, the overarching assessment is leadership. And you could fail that. You could give your very best effort. You could be fantastic at everything you do, but still lack the decisive capability. Now, the reason why that's so tough is because we meet some lovely, lovely people, sons and daughters of Australian parents. And there is nothing worse than when you're an instructor and standing over a young person who's 18 or 19, they'll look at and go, I couldn't do it either at that age. And then it's night time. They're on a lead. You can see the stresses on their face, and you're asking them to provide a level of expertise that they're not passing, and you understand that you couldn't have done it yourself at their age. But the fact of the matter is they volunteered, they went there, and they've got to get the horns. And sometimes, you don't actually get to pass them through. So, however, I do believe, unfortunately, we are passing through and making mistakes by allowing some to get through, which means they can infect an entire call sign for the rest of their career with either lower standards or not being up to the standard required. Wait 2 seconds, Tim. Hello. Okay. I'm on stream at the moment. Can you please put it just behind the pylon, and I'll eat it when I get off in 53 minutes? That's what I mean. Okay. Thank you. So impressed. Thank you. Great leadership right there. My ex partner's just dropped off some food because she knows I'm pretty crook at the moment, and my mother-in-law, one of the best chef cooks Greeks in the world, prepared that food. So for them, thank you very much. No evil eye for Kaz. What do we got here? Daz. G'day. Daz is building dikes, and I don't mean lesbians, down in South Australia at the moment to stop the flow of the Murray that's coming to destroy the town. Jack Cartridge, good luck, mate. Don't forget your golf clubs. Bad luck if you get Charlie company like me. There we go. I hope you get Alpha. Mr. Buckery, the police officers were shot. 2, maybe 3 unaccounted for since they went to a job on a farm. 2 by persons open fire. What have I missed here? What the hell's going on? Leo, I'm painting gum leaves. Lauren, there you go. We've got plenty out the back if you want some for free. We've got Gordon Thomas throwing a pink hand. I've never seen that emoji before, but I do like it. Jay, howdy, Leo. Jay Frey, when my friend was at RMC, somebody got pregnant and was allowed to graduate. They should have been kicked out, sacked instantly. You're not allowed to. That tells them exactly what those people are going to be like, unprofessional. You can make what would you say? You can cause a diplomatic incident when you've got people overseas and there's fraternisation happening between different armies that result in something like this. Imagine an officer gets pregnant to another officer who's married in a foreign country, how that's going to go on that task force. Not good. I want to find out more about that after Buckaroony, and a moment of silence is probably in order for those police officers. Hearts go out there to the big blue one. All right. So at any stage that an officer gets what would we say, deemed NYC, it's not going to be as clean cut as you just get to, okay, you failed, you're off. You've got to understand that an officer doesn't get their core until they graduate, potentially. Right? It is wrong that they get their Skippy badge. They do not deserve their Skippy badge at RMC. They don't. And it shouldn't be given to them by someone who is not infantry, and it should not be given to them by an officer. It should be given to them by an NCO at the School of Infantry when they complete the RBC Regimental Officers Basic course successfully, so that someone that is perpetually going to have their back within the battalion is also the person that gives them the gift of graduation, not someone from maybe logistics or maybe someone from artillery. I don't agree with that. Kapooka. Kapooka's different. When you go to Kapooka, backtrack, we're asking a lot from you when you go to RMC, and it's impossible for you to know whether you have that decisive capability to pass. It's not like just learn the weapon system, etc. When you join as an NCO, not an NCO, an enlisted soldier, then a requirement for you to, it's all about capability. So once you get your weapons and they deem you on safety of a weapon system, we'll say the EF88 at this stage, then if you pass that, or even if you fail, you'll be retested and then you'll be tested again. And if you continue to fail, then ultimately you might be untrainable. And then they'll say, okay, now you can't be here. So you've been pulled out of training and you don't get a say in that. But what they've done is they've taken all of the things that you could fail at out of Kapooka. So the only way you're going to fail at Kapooka now is by an act of God of injury or you actively saying, I quit. So the only way to fail at Kapooka is by quitting, pretty much. So failure. Failure, RAF, being sleeves up, soldiers, sleeves down. Otherwise, a soldier gets cancer, despite the fact we're the ones in the tropics. We used to get told the rats of Tobruk, they were so smart. Look, they knew how to operate in the sun in summer, in the Middle East. Yet we can't even roll our sleeves up to show our better tattoos, our thicker wrists, as we woo the women while we're going to a bakery for a bloody sausage roll and a coffee. It's wrong. Okay, Raffies. Now they don't have to shave anymore. They can grow a beard, but we know they don't have the testosterone for that. Have we got Simon Powell here? I'll be seeing him on Wednesday. Failing is learning. It's when you fail yourself that it's a problem. How would you fail yourself? What do you reckon, team? How do you fail yourself? Is that by saying, I'm going to do something, you can rely on me, I will be there, now I will never quit. But then you do? That's failing yourself. That's failing your family name. Now, that's anything that goes against you swearing your oath or affirmation. That's failing. Okay, don't fail yourself. I've failed myself before. I've failed my value system, and for a reason for that, I've got post-traumatic stress disorder now, and I've got videos on that. But that's all about 4 children who sit in my mind rent-free forever, and I deserve to remember them. If no one fails, what do you think about that, Jay? If there's a course that represents all of us and not one person fails, does that tell you maybe it's too easy? I think that. I got taught that by a colonel. Colonel no, it wasn't Colonel Tatnall. It was an American colonel. And he said, I can't trust a course that no one fails. It's too easy. Okay, feelings over facts. We're hearing at the moment, in line with capability, failing. The Army is failing in capability. Represent you. The Army is failing socially, politically, and physically by allowing people that have, in any other stage of Australian history, have failed the course, but because of their gender, I'm not going to outline this anymore, in Army Reserve, in regular Army, are getting waved through despite the fact that they are so incompetent that they are dangerous. And they're being waved through because social media has put pressure on the leadership that has given in and allowed the vampire into the house and said, we're going to allow and put pressure on that these females must pass even when they have openly failed. And there's some guys now that have followed that to make sure that they don't become whistleblowers of a double standard. That is failing. It is failing capability. It is failing the units. It is failing the orders, procedures as they go to dedicate themselves to an operational capability that they cannot keep up because we move at the speed of the slowest person. So the amount of this news that comes back to me from the regular Army and from the Army Reserve, and I'm not going to go into, I'm not going to mention names, is disgusting. What we're seeing people be allowed, and it is a double standard because they absolutely go ham on others. And once social media has crept into the military and we're not allowed to use social media ourselves, that is failing. Negative thoughts and overthinking is a recipe for failure. Ruminating thoughts is a terrible thing too, and I've got those. Freddie coming in hot. Howdy, bud. Daz, I'm fine with the stressed ones, Leo, but drunk people on motorbikes hauling abuse after busting my butt working, not called for. Yep. For those who didn't watch my video yesterday, Daz handed out some corporal punishment to those that gobbed off instead of picking up a shovel and working. And it's good to see the boys of the big of the thin blue line backed him up as well. Some sore chins at the moment. Okay. Kapooka. Something they do wrong there that RMC does well. In RMC, they wait and see how you go in third class, second class, first class before your core allocation gets given to you. In the Australian Army, the home of the Australian soldier being Kapooka, what we allow to happen is the private soldier to have a bargain agreement with what corps he's going to, despite the fact he hasn't shown any aptitude that he could actually do that job, which ultimately means we're putting people in areas where they should not be. In actual fact, we're setting them up for failure. So let's use, for example, in accordance with failure, what happens when you've got someone named Lucy? Okay, we don't go by first names. Lucy Smith. There's a lot of Smiths. I don't know what their mum did, but holy shit, she was active. Let's just say that Lucy has listened to a few feminist podcasts. Maybe she's got a few simps that surround her at the gym. And she goes in, she says she wants to go to infantry because she doesn't actually know what infantry is. And the recruiting goes, yes, you should. And then she gets to Kapooka, and the very first time she does field, she goes, oh, this is not what I thought it was. This is a little bit harder than I thought it was. And then before she knows it, she's going to the School of Infantry and having to do half the results of what is required of a male contestant, then has to keep up with the males when it comes to other PT, like carrying a full pack, 20 kilometres, 10 kilometres, like patrolling for a 24-hour period dismounted, by patrolling in the night, in winter, in summer, and then actually carrying out all of those conditions despite the fact that she's come in there completely undercooked, completely lied to, and set up for failure. And there's no one you can scream to. There's no one you can go to. What? Go to psych? I'm having problems. I'm having dark thoughts. That's not going to be good for you. Anyway. So, feelings over facts. So why are we allowing for gender discrimination to occur where we're allowing people through that are going to cook the books that ultimately is going to put them into a hotter fire, fat fire, when they get to the battalion and everyone goes, well, you've got your Skippy badge, so we assume you can do everything, including a 40 clicker if we ask you to, 40 kilometre pack march that is. Now, infantry PESA, but now you're going on a dismounted operation because the armoured infantry fighting vehicles have been stalled, and you're going to be going there for 4 months dismounted, patrolling in a tropical environment. We don't know where we're going next. If you are not ready, you are going to be a casualty. Feelings over facts. Facts need to be paramount. What if you've got someone who can't keep up in a BFA, but now they're going to be carrying a weapon that is too big for their hands, that they can't use properly under stressful conditions when the shutters come in, and it's nighttime, night vision capabilities are now on, and you're doing a live fire, and that person is behind you of live rounds. Do you deserve that if you're the person that turned up that was right for the job, capability good to go? Do you deserve someone who is a danger man behind you? No, you don't. Facts over feelings. Capability is always the most important thing. Kapooka should determine the core badge. Now, the worse you go at Kapooka, more chances are you're going to get the runt cause and you're going to get sent to somewhere Army needs. That's the way it was always done. And what it did was inspire you to always do the best whenever you could. Hey guys, how we going? Mr. Buccarini, I'm jealous that I don't have enough hair on top to do that. Mate, and this is after a haircut, bro. Ellen has left the building. She's right here. Nicole K. Hi, Brady. I hope you're well, mate. Brady's in the wars. He always is. He should have an ICB, to tell you the truth. And we've just found out that Somali veterans are getting their citation, which is similar to this one, like we got for Rwanda, and that should be getting given out at Canberra soon. So well done to our Somali veterans. Lauren is Sean and Kaz has more hair than all of our friends except the boss. The boss, let's not talk about him living the high life at the moment. Foxy Fox, here's your physical standards should be the same across the board. Foxy, we are about to do a video soon about the difference between the BFA, being tangible fitness requirements, swim tests as well, and that of actually living within the military, which is not PT, but is physical rigor, stoicism, the requirement to keep going for months at a time without showers, on minimum food, in adverse conditions, and none of it is classed as PT. You can do those fitness tests, but if you don't have what we used to have in the School of Infantry, which was an overarching assessment, we'll use Dave D's here. G'day, mate. G'day, legends. So they should have been given years ago. I'm not sure what that one's about. Nice hair, says Dave, who's always had a crush on the enlisted men. What was I going to say? G'day, Australian Defender. Thank you for all your time and experience, Kaz. Much respect. That's what I try to tell the girls, mate, but they don't listen. They need me in their bed. If I'm not attracted to them, let's call it charity. Let's just get it done. 38 minutes to go. Lightfoot. Do I get back squatted or sent to a run corps? I'm not sure what you mean by that. H. G'day, guy. G'day, mate. He's a man of minimum words required. H. How you doing, buddy? Foxy. The PT standards should be relevant to what your job requires of you. No. It should be the same across the board. There should be one test. The test doesn't say, this is the thing, Foxy. The test doesn't say that you're now ready for field. The test says that you have an anaerobic capability to be able to think with your heartbeat racing. It should be that you have the ability to be able to pick yourself up your own body weight, to be able to lift your body weight, etc., that you have a certain amount of strength. It should be that you can keep going for a certain amount of time, that your back has the good support, but none of this is a guarantee that you have the physical toughness to be able to actually do the job in the field environment over a long period of time. One of the biggest classic examples, who is the most dangerous critic? Is it going to be the DS instructor, someone like myself standing over you looking there going, give me the answer, Popeye? Or is it going to be your peers who know everything about you, the ins, the outs, the fails, the good things, the bad things, the truth? Or someone like Ed B? What happens if we go over and we've completely cooked the books and then we go over to America to do a bilateral transfer or exchange, only to be told that, hey, these guys failed and disgraced your country in front of a foreign forces that had invited you over there? What do we got? Ed B. Hey, Ed B. Okay, fantastic news. I wish I could say it, but he's told me not to say it. So we've got people from USA right now. Ed B, 11 Bravo. I've been waiting for you to call me. I've been waiting like a pregnant woman waiting for Baskin Robbins ice cream. Get it done, son. Ed B, I love you, mate. You're part of the family, and I want to hear your voice. Let's do that tomorrow. Well, I find out tomorrow whether my daughter has now made it to school captain or not. Peter, congratulations on listing in February and stinking hot. Yeah, it sucks. Peter Cronin. Thanks, Lauren. What's going on? Okay, it's got Kapooka coming up soon in February. Yes. So you've got plenty of time. G'day, Kabilo. You've got plenty of time now to have no excuses not to turn up there ready to go. That's great to know, Nicole. Yep, February sucks. I joined on the 3rd of July, 3rd or 4th of July, the heart of winter. And then when I was finished that, I did the Heart of Summer at the School of Infantry, had the Christmas leave off, fantastic, didn't pull the fat cord, then came back and burnt my ring gear off, then went to the battalion in February, just in time to do mill skills, and lucky I was ready and good to go. Physically, capability, good to go. Expectation versus results. Yep, when you turn up there, it's impossible for you to know what it's going to be like. But Kapooka, School of Infantry, two completely different tests. RMC, third class, second class, first class, all subtly different to each other. You won't know you can do it until you get there. We just ask, do not quit, because that would be you failing you and failing your family name. Okay, the other one, failing. Too often we hear one side of the story. We hear why someone failed. We hear some bitter and woeful story of how it happened. And then you forget sometimes that not only was I an instructor for over 8 years on 4 separate occasions, at least 5 really, yeah, but I've heard it all before, so I know when someone's only telling me a half truth. It hurts sometimes because you don't want to call someone out. Puka, RMC, IETs, battalion. You will never stop being assessed by your peers, and you can blow it in one hit. You can. Be careful what you ask for. Be very careful what you ask for in accordance of more responsibility, because you will be held accountable at that level. Who is this? Ed. I'll wait 2 seconds. This is information come from USA right now. Okay. So we have some cracking news right now. Ed B. Jr. has just completed his first operational tour since enlisting in the US Army. That's amazing. That's fantastic. It will change his life, and now he's officially a US veteran, and that title will sit with him for the rest of his life and his resume. Smokey B, I'm doing good, Lauren. Just tested positive for COVID. Well done. We've all had a crack at that one, haven't we? Maybe they want to fill. Maybe they want to fill the ranks. Yeah, but Gordo, this is the problem. This is the problem. For some reason, the bad soldiers tend to be the ones that stay. And if a bad soldier gets rank, and then they give bad leadership, now whether it be an officer rank, whether it be at an OR's rank, then what happens is retention becomes a problem, because people don't want to be led by monkeys. Okay, so there's a flow-on effect that infects the entire army. And what's more is, if Lauren or Nicole or Daz, okay, or Jay or Campbell, okay, is a volunteer soldier, the best small army in the world, the Australian Army, they deserve top quality, vetted leadership from the NCO level, but also from the officer cadre, commissioned officers. They deserve that. All people need to know is that the books are cooked, that they're not getting the leadership they deserve, that maybe they're not as safe with the team that they're with, and that there is a double standard that is active within their call sign. And what you can do is tear that fabric to goddamn pieces. You can actually water down the Anzac spirit. You can represent the country poorly. This is not an attendance game. This is a must-win franchise. The day you don't win, then you're going to be counting your losses and writing the letters, and can you live with that? Because the death of a volunteer is more than we can bear. Congratulations to Ed B. Jr. Can we get some thumbs up there for Ed B. Jr.? That's a fantastic, and to those that have done it, it is a beautiful thing. Now, to those that don't get to deploy, that ain't their fault. You don't get to volunteer to deploy. It just comes your way, for good, for bad, or for worse. And for those that don't get to deploy, my hand goes on my heart, because I remember having tears in my eyes when I thought I was going to Somalia, only to get flown back to Townsville, then told, no, we've got too many people from Bravo Company 2nd 4th Battalion going to the 1st Battalion, the big blue one, the donkey fuckers. And I put my hands in my head in my hands and cried. So I thought it was the big one. Exactly, Kaz, the reason for the exodus is upper management. Absolutely it is. We got told when I joined the Army, when Angus Campbell, when all of those guys were young in the Army, that leadership is where the buck stops. Why isn't that happening now? Why isn't that happening now? He used to be my boss. We're not hearing that. Do the leadership know, or are they the ones putting the pressure on that it doesn't matter how that girl performs, she must be passed. We have to have representation within the Army. Who is putting the pressure on saying we don't give a shit what happens with the Army as long as it looks like a social experiment victory for the left-leaning agenda? Where did he deploy? I'm not going to talk about it, Bucko. I can't talk about where he is. Okay, Bucko got tipped for a Somalia trip 1 week out, Kaz. Did you go, Bucko? You didn't go to Somalia, did you? Sure, I heard that wrong. Says Jay. What do you guys got to say? We asked what was bugging you yesterday, and so we might read a few through those comments. Evening, Kaz. Hope you had a good day, mate. I've had a good day. My daughter finds out whether she's going to be the school captain tomorrow, which is very exciting for me. Press like if you can, team. Jonathan Lake. Hi, Kaz. What's your opinion on the gap year program? Look, the gap year program, as far as I'm concerned, is the same as national service. The Army gets and the country gets everything from you, all of that that hard work going in there in 1 year, boom, out the way. But what does it give you in return? Does it pay for after that? Is there an obligation that it pays for some of your schooling? Maybe for the last 2 years of a university degree of Hexbill? What happens? It makes you a fully qualified Army reservist, but other than that, they spit you back out. Now, you can sign back on for 4 years, and I would recommend that everyone that does that and finish that 4 years to be the best that you can be. I believe that everyone should do national service because I believe that everyone would be a better uni student if they did national service for 1 year before that and then realize, you know what, why was I going to do that when all I really want to do is do this? And then when the country gets to the stage where they go, what are the cores, the jobs within Australia that no one wants to do? That is when you put a carrot in front of it and say, well, at least it pays well. Okay? So the gap year, it takes, but it doesn't really give back to you. Be careful of it. And it will not give you an indication of what it's like to be in the Army. All of that year is basically training. You don't actually get to ferment within the adventure of being a soldier. So just be careful. I hope that answers your question, Senior Lake, and I hope you like it. I recommend you get on Patreon ASAP and we can have a conversation and we can work out the rest of your life like it works for so many others. Leadership are the elite, no accountability. Yeah, it's wrong, mate. It's wrong. Dave D, easy to say leadership is key when there's no pressure on. Exactly. And what happens when the pressure comes that matters? And this is the thing that scares me, Dave. We've got people that have never been tested in a theatre of operations, but because of time spent can be in a point of elevation where they can ruin the career of someone below them in the officer cohorts that still hasn't had a chance to show his potential as what he or she can be. And it's a one-sided conversation. The fact that an officer gets to report on a platoon sergeant, I think platoon sergeants in the battalion might get a chance to now write something on the PAR for the officer, which they should be able to do. And if they don't, there's something wrong about that too, isn't there? Transparency. Dave Ray. Sure, Dave D. Can't think of a few managers in my life. There's a difference between a manager and a leader. A leader must have leadership. If they're not, they should not be in a combat corps. That's well said, Dave D. I've seen a bit of that on the SES job. Hence the country boys take over and get it done. Yep. Leadership will come to the fore, when the pressure is on, and it'll come from a place you least expect it, and that's called natural leadership. Sometimes I think that we put a lot of pressure on a young officer to be perfect, when instead we should be putting the pressure on him to make decisions and then doing a summary of his training like we should on a sniper's course. There shouldn't be one specific badge test. There should be peer-on-peer evaluation. There should be instructor evaluation via a BOS, a Board of Studies, and then there should be the senior decision made by the senior officer, tactical officer there. Jonathan Lake, I'm off to Kapooka in January. Excellent. Excellent. Which means you don't need a cent other than to be able to buy a sausage roll and a pie before you get on that bus. You've got your life mapped out. How old are you, Johnny Lake? Lauren, message from Ed B. Lauren, I'm on the phone trying to say hey to the team, but my YouTube chat is acting up and not letting me type. Can we get a translation from US to Australian? Maybe that's what it needs. What date, Jonathan? I'll be there 23rd of January. There we go. These will be in the mess hall at the same time. And there you go. Aussie Defender will be there too. Guys and gals, I'm never going to be an overall critic of the Australian Army because I still believe it's the best small army in the world. Okay, but you do deserve to understand that I can be critical, because it's meant to be a truthful organisation. It's meant to be transparent when it comes to standards. It's meant to be. And the Army used to be so much better at keeping it across the board and being honest with the aptitude, with the reteaching. It was tough, but it was honest. It really was. The physicality that used to happen at the School of Infantry was based on physical toughness. You could come in there and pass everything, but get told, no, you are not going beyond this point because you do not have the physical toughness to be able to continue. How would I measure that? CFA, combat fitness assessment, where there was a 15-kilometre pack march where you marched as a formed body of troops in marching order. If you fell back, you proved that you cannot keep up with the group, which means you did not have the physical toughness to keep up. It's one of the reasons why a fantastic young man, Private Williams, took his own life when he got back squatted because he didn't have the physical toughness to keep up and ultimately didn't have the mindset or the stability to do so either. The next one would be section attacks. Let's dive into that for a second. So what would happen is, as an instructor, you would be doing section attack after section attack, walking before you run, dry, then blank, and then you would ultimately doing live fire activities at night, overhead gunfire, flanking attacks, etc. Now, if we got to the stage where you'd done progressive, safety, precaution, mistakes, fails, or you could not keep up with the forward line of troops, you could not conduct the immediate action drills on your weapon systems, you couldn't use your weapons safely, or you did not have the fitness to be able to get you there, because even at Kapooka, you did a BFA almost straight away and got back squatted if you couldn't do it, including 7 chin-ups. The standards were always fucking high. And they have to be for safety reasons. So, with that out the way, I was able to walk over and say, this person does not possess the physical toughness to continue on, and as a critical vulnerability to this, or worst case scenario, most dangerous course of action, if there is an incident and I've brought it to your attention and this person does a catastrophic range accident, now it's on you because you've been notified. Okay, no worries, that person's back squatted, see you later. And then that did them a favour because they went back and then they did the more PT and then they got recycled through, become the best version of them. They just had to go at a pace that was a little bit slower than what they were able to output when they initially got in unprepared. Peter Cronin, Australian Defender, can't wait to serve and defend my country. I think that's a fantastic thing. And I think it's one of the most amazing things that an immigrant can do as well. Come over, do national service and say, I love this country. I'll wear a uniform for this country. I'll play sports. I'll do all of these things to show you I'm here for the right reasons. Now, what do we got? That almost looks like he's got an Australian uniform there. There we go. Look at that tiger. He's starting to fill out. He looks like a man now. Always fish about. I'm typing up my cover letter at the moment while I'm listening tonight. Mate, any guys any gals that want the truth or a version of, come and get on the Patreon. Guys and gals, everyone that comes to the Patreon walks away going, okay, lucky I did that. And we have a war game over there situation for the price of a coffee a month. And I tell you what, we had someone the other day that turned up with their fitness card at their assessment session. And when they asked them, oh, let's talk about fitness, bam, they pulled the card out and said, that's where I am right now. And guess what? The staff loved it. And you get them sent to you if you come on to In the Trenches with Kaz Patreon. Do that. Do it for yourself. Merry Christmas. Only training preparing for what's to come. It's a tough one there, Australian Defender, because it's a social experiment. It is a game show. You're going to love it. Saw those Kaz, the photos. Yeah, they're nice, eh? He looks great. And he looks happy and he looks confident. Smokey B, that's good, Lauren. I'm just going to get on the piss or the puss, as I'd say in New Zealand, at the rolly, and of course have family time. Fantastic. We've got the soldiers at the moment. I feel like I'm a bit manic at the moment because I had a coffee at 7 o'clock this morning and it's still going through me. The soldiers around the country are starting to go home now for a well-earned rest, not knowing what is coming in 2023. No one knows. The stock market doesn't know what's happening. Yeah? Very, very interesting indeed. No one knows. They have to be ready. They're going to go home. They're going to see their family. This is the most exciting time of the year. When you're in Townsville, you can see, like Catch the Pigeon, when they do knock off, boom, you can see a trail of cars that goes all the way to Rockhampton. The new cars driving down, mates hanging out together, people that are getting a lift by their buddy, cars full of people carpooling, only to get home and realise, holy fuck, I've turned into an adult since I left Kapooka. And now I can only stand being around my mum and dad for 2 weeks over Christmas. But now I'm going to go back and hang out with my mates at Byron Bay in an overpriced beach. Just going to see less quality soldiers. Well, ultimately what could happen is, Elijah, we could end up losing because we travel at the speed of a loser, not the speed of the warrior. Hey, Rand. Okay, as I've got my PTRC next year after leaving Kapooka a couple of years ago. I hated quitting and now I'm beyond. I hated quitting and now I'm beyond psyched. Can I have any words of advice? I'd say don't quit. Enjoy the journey. Make friends. Make pledges. Represent your family name. Do the training. Be the best you can be. Have a sense of humour. Make stories. Put your hand on the shoulder of someone having a hard time that doesn't know about In the Trenches with Kaz to help me to help them. You're going to love it. Kaz, I saw a clip the other day at a headquarters in Sydney. Some of the RSMs had massive guts. It's embarrassing. Absolutely it is. It's disgusting. But that's what happens when you go to postings. I feel sorry for some of the officers. I really do. When they go away from a combat or field posting, when they've been in for a considerable amount of time, and they turn up and those poor bastards are shortening their fingers on keyboards for policy, and every day there's $1,000 getting spent on Mornos, then put in front of them beside their civilian staff, and just flick your fingers here and there, put a time lapse on them, and then a year later they're going, holy shit, what happened to me? Middle age spread comes early to those in administrational responsibility areas. Yep. Tattooed Chief, what a name. Hope I sec. Scotty, Quinn hates being on leave and can't wait to get back to Holsworthy. All he's got to do is get arrested and he'll go to the army jail and be back in Holsworthy quick sticks. Tattooed Chief. Hey, Kaz, going for my third attempt to become an infantry soldier, 31 years old and doing the BFA at 17 to 25 year levels. Wish me luck. I do wish you luck, Tattooed Chief. I do. And, mate, is there a reason why this is your third attempt? Can you let me know? Nicole, like I watched a mate's daughter march out mid-year and the inspecting officer had the biggest gut. This is what I mean about perception, Nicole. It's terrible. That person should not be in a position where they can represent the army, or the core values, or the reputation when they do not look like, especially in a uniform where you tuck your shirt in, which is rare these days. But we've seen what happens when you try to call out that. They get angry, like that fat sergeant, I think it was, at the Olympics that time. Okay, that's when you are in a trade like that, you ensure you keep up your fitness. And it's the hard thing, Nicole, because at the moment there is so much paperwork that is getting piled on to NCOs, to officers, that the first thing that gets cut away is PT, and they need to make that time. I remember in 3rd Brigade, you were not allowed to be in the office, before 8:30. You had to be out physically training, and I thought that was a great rule. Great rule, and it saves the army money when it comes to rehabilitation later, when these people have got lumbar spondylosis from carrying packs with a poor core. I don't mean parkour. Dave D, one of the ADF values is excellence. Yep, that one should be taken away because that's an expectation that is not met. Yeah. And again, team, I do not like pointing out things or a slide that's happening and being allowed to happen within the Australian Army. And it was my own bosses that told me, if you walk past something that is incorrect, then that is now becomes yours if you do nothing about it. That was a comment that was brought up. I've lived by that since then. I've always known what I fail at, and I tell my commanders what I'm bad at, what my critical vulnerabilities are, what I am incompetent at, and that is paperwork. Even with shithouse rolls, sometimes I miss and hit the bullseye with my finger instead of the quilting. Yeah. Michaela Cox, g'day, buddy. Hey, Kaz, I had a pretty tough road with my application. DFR medically messed up, okay, my application. Therefore, turnaround times for my test from additional testing, assessment day, and OSB was a week. Okay, worked super hard and made it work. Now, just waiting for Lou. I'm not sure what that one is. For ADF RAF pilot, not Army, but still proud to serve my country. Thank you for your advice. It has really helped me in my application. Michaela, congratulations if you get to be in there. You must be a goddamn smart cookie, because that's somewhere where they do not cut corners, where they do not cook the books. When they're going to hand multi-million-dollar pieces of property to someone who's going to be an Air Force officer or an Army pilot, be rest assured it's still a meritocracy. It's going to be hard work, and I wish you absolutely the best. And you've got a pretty cool name as well. Yeah, you have. Stubbsy. G'day, Kaz, Lauren, Daz, Dave, Brady, Jay, and of course your amazing team. Good to have you here, Stubbsy. You're my favourite buffalo sauce. You can find it in Woolworths or Coles for chicken legs, which I've got 2 of. No, my daughter thinks I've actually got cat legs, domestic wet cat legs. Tattooed Chief. Cheers, mate. First attempt, I was 17 and too young. Okay, I get that one. Then tried again at 27. Got ya. I got Med4, medical low. I believe that's not an issue anymore. And from what I've been told, I should be sweet now. Tattooed Chief. Do you want my Patreon? If you're not, get on there. Let's talk about it for at least a month so we can have those conversations and make sure you go in there with the best chance of success, mate. Because if this is your last attempt, you're going to need a number 2 on that sniper rifle. Timothy, Kaz, do you think the FR are going to find 80,000 new recruits in the next 9 years they want? No, they're not. They're not going to. But what that is a cookbook. We've got 80,000 people in the ADF now, which makes it sound like a lot, but that's Air Force, Army, Navy, officers, and Army Reserve. Yeah. We have got the smallest pool of applicants that could qualify for, which means the cooking of the books happens. And the money that they're giving people to stay in now, I get it. But if you feel like you're starting to make they should talk to the soldiers more and see what the soldiers want. Because when you make it about money, what you've just done is create a mercenary army. You've got to be very careful of that. It's like school teachers that are overpaid, a lot of them, that now over $100,000 and still want more. When you say to them comparison, work hours, etc., employment primary, not high school, what do you mean you're on over $110,000 and complaining about your pay? You know what other people do? Do you know what a brickie's on? Okay, do you know what a soldier's on? Let's be fair. What's the link, please, mate? Tattoo Chief, just below you, mate. Lauren is shining. That goes for everyone, guys. Honestly, the price of a coffee, and the only reason we do that is so there's a barrier of entry so people don't ring me for absolutely no reason at all, just to be a pest. Iron Bear Projects. That's a good name. Okay, it's got back on Saturday from 1RTB. That's Kapooka. Was lucky enough to have had an all-stag platoon and some secos that bled green. It was more than an honour to go from recruit to private. Absolutely. Well done. Thanks, Kaz. Appreciate it. We're going to call you Team America from now on, Michaela Cox, because I just pictured you there. Danger zone. Yeah. Iron Bear. Doesn't it make a difference when you've got a section commander that you respect, that's fit, that you look up to, and you start to think, I need a hero. And maybe here's the guy I want to be like in the absence of a father, as happening for some. Don't drop there. Can't wait to join. Just got to get my fitness up. That's what she said. Get fit for life, not for army. The army will be the byproduct of your successes physically. But I want it to be for you, for your love life, for your sex life, for your life. Mr. Buckaroony, mate, get off the computer, hit the gym, and start pounding the pavement. No excuses. Yep. And get yourself, bam, a Fitbit. And then what you can do is start competing with those around you so it becomes communal. I'm going to give this to Simon Powell. It's been a long time in waiting, and he gets it this Wednesday. Hope it fits on his wrist. Yep. Daz. Far out, Blanchetown has been smashed with water today. We will have the tomorrow morning. The funny thing is, I rang up Daz today, and it wasn't to hear about him punching out dickheads. It was to talk about, well, is it raining down there? But in my naivety, I didn't realise, and my ignorance, that the rain has stopped. The Murray River has busted its banks, and now the water is all flowing downhill to where they are. So to all of those in South Australia that are having a hard time, my heart goes out, because farmers, they just don't need this. But it's going to be followed up, like Daz says, normally by 2 crippling years of floods, followed by 30 years of goddamn drought. So let's catch that water. Let's make that internal city. Let's give Australia something to be proud of, and let's start exporting our skill sets by becoming producers instead of net purchasers. Whitefoot, do I earn more than that? If yes, I could not apply. Do I earn more than that? Your money should never be what actually motivates you to go somewhere, unless you've got children and it's for them. Because you should get a ride in the Gizmobile. What the hell are we talking about here? Ed B, Spanner. Lots of love. Have you reached 60? I'm not sure what you're talking about. No, mate, we've got 7 minutes and 55 seconds to go. His wrist is working on those horses. Ed B's here. He's got it sorted. Hey, team. Okay, my chat is finally working. Lighty, do I need more than that? Yes, I could not apply. I don't even understand that. Sorry, buddy. What's the Gizmobile? Is that my van? The Blue Boy? Well done, Ed. I wasn't ignoring you. Chat was moving quickly. Guys and gals, for those that don't know, that didn't watch the video I put out yesterday, we've got so much amazing news. When I went to bed on Friday, I didn't realise by Sunday I'll have had invites to 3 overseas trips in 2023. I said yes to 2 of them. It's so exciting. It's going to be great. And I've also found what my genre is going to be for photography. I love it. And it's going to be, hey, Brad. Brad's just joined us on Patreon. Thank you, Brad. I'll be sending you a message in a minute. Don't make him go alone, team. Jump on board. This is going to be my genre of photography. I've got an underwater housing for my camera. Bam. I want it to be about capturing humans, candid photography of people getting some chiropractic work on their body beneath the beautiful waters of Australian beaches in the middle of the day, rather than have to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock, to catch the sunrise at 5 o'clock, because I'm on the East Coast, not the West. Guys, I hope you're all happy. We've got 6 minutes to go. This is the time for the questions. We need to sit down, Kaz, and learn and learn him some of the chat. Yeah, we do. Let's have a look at what some of the... Come on, troll. Shut up, Kaz. he said. Okay, Mum, Dad, and Denny, Tom, we talked about building the entire city smack bang in the centre of Australia. First thing is to set up all infrastructure that could sustain 2 million people. Give people that boxable version from maybe from Elon Musk that gives people a chance to actually have home ownership. Maybe right in the centre, we build a big jail for federal prisoners, which creates a workforce. So that could occur. And we could build a water catchment location, make a massive oasis, and make people stoked. Give them opportunities. Roger Ramjet, good work, Kaz. Well said as always. Hope you're feeling better. Have a good weekend. I've noticed your new content takes a while to get to me. One thing that is really annoying me are the woke types who get upset about everything at the same time, being hypocrites with their cars, phones, and everything else they should feel privileged to have. These same types get upset at people who don't share their opinions. You should try to shout them down. I could rant on and on. Seems that's the world we live in. Tropical salt. I live in North Queensland. I've had big cars, can speak for myself and say that I want, as long as it does. Sorry. Okay, Lyndon Arkle. He works in the coffee shop near us. Okay, biggest problem in Australia at the moment is the next generation. The 13 to 20-year-old, I see he's an owner of an established business. They constantly have their parents hovering over them, doing enriching for them, and they want the easy way out with everything they do. It's a scary prospect when I think about the next generation. Okay. I've had a lot of those conversations the last couple of days, and what I will say is, as the father of a daughter, I think the problem is we love our children too much. By sheltering them from real life, we're preventing them from having a life. And I'm guilty of that too. I am. And they need to grow because we're not going to be here forever. And if I was to die tomorrow, I don't think I'm going to, but if I do, I'm sure it would be from overeating sushi. Then, yeah, they need to have the memories of you, the fact that they loved you, the lessons learned. They also need you to be able to let them go. And I don't know if I ever could. Carla Cox, danger zone. Maybe controversial question, Kaz, but what are your thoughts on how veterans of the ADF are treated if they sustain an injury, medical discharge, and then are not supported but thrown back into society? I'm one of those guys. They do things a lot better now, Michaela. They really do. They do things a lot better. Make sure that you've got a lot of the DVA set up before you actually get out rather than throw you to the lions. The tough thing is, normally when someone is medically withdrawn from the army, they're normally out before they thought they were going to be out. And the tough thing about that is for them to try and then create a life which has got nothing to do with what their passion is. Give you an example. Get someone the fittest they've ever been, operational tour, at a forward operating base, catastrophic blue on green occurs, and someone is shot, blown up, etc., loses a leg, potentially, and then they go from the fittest they've ever been to a hospital bed in Germany, then home, out of the army, and then, well, what do I do now? My life changed in a second. Helicopter crash, whatever it may be. There is no happy ending. There's just a greater evil, probably. There's no way around it. Those that play with sharp tools, normally have serious incidents, accidents. It happens. Okay, so the way society looks at us, we can't do anything about that because we're not the ones spreading bad reputation. It's our own commanders that have done that. Really great bloody job. Thank you very much, sirs. And the politicians and 60 Minutes that are allowed to come embedded with us do great stories on how great we are. But then when they come back, can't find a story, all of a sudden then regurgitate some of that B-roll that they had and then say something bad about us. And there you go. They got two stories, one good, one bad, but we've got to live with that. I get reinvigorated with my passion for Australia every Anzac Day when I see how many people turn up well-dressed, quiet, respectful with their children, lamenting over the losses of those that have fallen before us. So I haven't lost hope. My daughter Lauren got engaged yesterday over in Western Australia, so we should find out about that tomorrow by the time she catches up in the time. It wasn't to Kane, was it? Elijah, thanks to Streamcast. Thank you for what you do. Going through a long, tough appeal process. That sucks, man. Having it applying twice over the years, watching your vids, helping piece together bits of motivation. We like to do whatever we can to keep you guys on the straight and narrow. This is your channel team. Okay, watch the videos, put things in comments. I try to get to every comment. I try to. In no matter how sick I am, I talk all day on the bat phone. If you want to find me, that's where you can find me. Upgraded, 14, Max Pro, awesome. Guys, we've got 30 seconds. Thanks for the insight, Michaela. All good, mate. All good. Good to have you here, team. For those that are watching right now being quiet, we want to hear your voice. Subscribe to the channel. You're welcome here. Freedom of speech. We can take it. I spotted the transit of one of the Jovian Moon's new craters on the edge of the moon. That's awesome. Got to go. Hit the hour. Guys and gals, let's roll. Tank Hunter. Good name. Is everyone in the ADF required to attend Anzac Day in uniform? No, they're not. They're on duty? Yes. Otherwise, suit. Good question. Good suit, gal, and peace to all of those that facilitate the tax dollar and have the hope that the Australians, when thrown into the shit, will be prepared to represent you with honour and know that the people behind them have had to meet standards. That means that your loved one or you has the best chance of coming home alive, led by an officer with the best training that is there and has not necessarily there to protect you, but has the professionalism to do the due diligence on his orders, that he's been thoroughly tested for, failed, rebuilt, retrained, then goes on to show you the best of him. When you've got the best officers, you've got the best soldiers as well, the equipment doesn't matter anymore. The team, all the best. Love you, Mum. This is the month of Christmas. We've got some fantastic things coming up. Scotty Chator and Quinny, all the best to you. And for Ed B. Jr., well done. Let's get you home safely, son. And to Ed B., thank you for that. Lauren, always there. See you later, team. Either become a member or let's see you on Patreon. Let's do it to them before they do it to you. And that's from Hills.